So this is the time of day at Abhayagiri for our morning reflection. And we're rolling this into the Anapanasati day of reflecting on Mettā along with Anapanasati. So I thought I would start with a couple of readings, just briefly about one about Mettā and one about Sakka. So this is next to me, this is an image of Sakka, in Thai known as Prayin Devavrat. So Sakka is a character in the suttas who's also known as Indra, and is the king of the Tāvatiṃsa heaven, the heaven of the 33. And so the reason Sakka is here with me is, one is Sakka is, according to the Digha Nikaya Sutta 21, Sakka has attained stream entry upon having like a Q&A discourse with the Buddha at one point. And so Sakka counts as Savaka Sangha. So Savaka Sangha, when we pay homage to Sangha, it's not just paying homage to the people in robes, but it's paying homage to those who have practiced well. So the four pairs, the 8 types of noble beings. So that's the path and fruit of the 4 different types of attainment: stream entry, once returner, non-returner, arahant. And so this is a image of a deva that counts as Savaka Sangha, and so worthy of paying homage to, and also worthy of reflecting on what were the causes that caused the being Sakka to actually take rebirth in that form. And start by reading Digha Nikaya, Book of the 11s, Sutta 15, Loving Kindness. Bhikkhus, when the liberation of mind by loving kindness has been pursued, developed and cultivated, made a vehicle and basis, carried out, consolidated, and properly undertaken, 11 benefits are to be expected. What 11? 1 sleeps well. 1 awakens happily. 1 does not have bad dreams. 1 is pleasing to human beings. 1 is pleasing to spirits. Deities protect 1. Fire, poison, and weapons do not injure 1. 1's mind quickly becomes concentrated. 1's facial complexion is serene. 1 dies unconfused. And if 1 does not penetrate further, 1 fares on to the Brahma world. And then also the things cultivated by Sakka in the past. This is Samyutta Nikaya 11, the Sakka Samyutta. And this sutta is called Vows. This is at Savatthi. Bhikkhus, in the past, when Sakka, Lord of the Devas, was a human being, he adopted and undertook 7 vows, by the undertaking of which he achieved the status of Sakka. What were the 7 vows? 1, as long as I live, may I support my parents. 2, as long as I live, may I respect the family elders. 3, as long as I live, may I speak gently. 4, as long as I live, may I not speak divisively. 5, as long as I live, may I dwell at home with a mind devoid of the stain of stinginess, freely generous, open-handed, delighting in relinquishment, devoted to charity, delighting in giving and sharing. 6, as long as I live, may I speak the truth. 7, as long as I live, may I be free from anger, and if anger should arise in me, may I dispel it quickly. In the past, bhikkhus, when Sakka, Lord of the Devas, was a human being, he adopted and undertook these 7 vows, by the undertaking of which he achieved the status of Sakka. And it ends with a verse. When a person supports his parents and respects the family elders, when his speech is gentle and courteous, when he refrains from divisive words, when he strives to remove meanness, is truthful and vanquishes anger, the Tāvatiṃsa Devas call him truly a superior person. So one thing that's worth thinking about in terms of a morning reflection for today is that sometimes we might feel like these vows that were made by great beings of the past, that if we give rise to anger in our own minds, that we might feel absolutely disheartened or feel that maybe it's impossible to actually practice these things. However, I appreciate these verses of Sakka because he's not saying, may anger never arise. We can't make that as a determination. We can't make that as an adhitthana. But he can say, well, if anger does arise, which inevitably will, if anger does arise, then may I dispel it quickly. May I do what I can to dispel it as quickly as possible. So we might develop various techniques about how to dispel anger. One we will discover very quickly in the course of our practice that actually just getting frustrated with ourselves doesn't dispel it. So that doesn't work. So knowing it, acknowledging it, that's the beginning of it, of dispelling it. And then also seeing the drawback of it. We really do need to see the drawback of the anger in order to be able to dispel it. And once we see the drawback of the anger, then we can actually bring the mind to more of a neutral state through the anapanasati, through the breath meditation. We can't just, or else it'd be very rare, I don't know if it's impossible, but nearly impossible to just flip the mind from unwholesome to wholesome. So the mind has to be brought from unwholesome, if the mind is caught in anger, unwholesome to neutral. So using the breath to bring the mind to more of a neutral state. And then from there, we can make the mind more wholesome with mettā, with goodwill. And so as we meditate on goodwill, and then also it's going to be very difficult to meditate, do a mettā meditation, spreading mettā out if we're not truly able to have mettā for ourselves. So what that means is actually genuinely wishing ourselves well. And that's also difficult to do. So how do we genuinely wish ourselves well? This is going to lead to a sense of connection or a lack of alienation with ourselves. If we want to have a sense of connection, a lot of times, most of the time, we'll be seeking that outside, either from other people or situations, some sense of connection, some sense of fulfillment. But if we want to develop that connection within ourselves, then the goodwill, the genuine wishing ourselves well is going to be necessary. So once we've brought the mind into a neutral state with the anapanasati, then we can just try it. We can try to actually, we might use the phrase, may I abide in well-being. So like in the chanting, may I abide in well-being and freedom from affliction and freedom from hostility and so on. Normally when we first do this, we'll find we are doing the chant or the reflection in a rote way. We might even repeat it over and over again. May I be well, may I be happy. But because it's done in a rote way and it hasn't gone in yet, it's necessary to really mean it. Can we really wish ourselves well? And if we're not able to, then can we find what's blocking us from that genuine well-wishing for ourselves? So if we say to ourselves in our minds during the course of the meditation, may I abide in well-being, and we don't feel anything, we don't feel any sense of connection or fullness from that, then trying to investigate in what way am I not able to wish myself well, and looking into it, what's blocking us, what's the obstruction. If we're not able to genuinely, truly wish ourselves well and mean it, then what's blocking us from that? We might think, I'm not worthy of this sort of mettā. It's better if I can have mettā for others, but this being here maybe has done this or that bad action and is not worthy of it somehow, or maybe we're just down on ourselves for some reason or another. So instead of wishing ourselves well, we're wishing ourselves harm, actually, even though we might not realize we're doing that. So trying to see how are we not wishing ourselves well, and then making that strong determination to truly wish ourselves well. And so, again, it's bringing the mind to a neutral state through the anapanasati, sitting comfortably, making the breath and the body comfortable, breathing in, breathing out, cool air coming in to the nostrils, warm air coming out, and having a sense of relaxed alertness. And then just seeing, can I do it? Can I wish myself well and genuinely mean it?